Okay, so hey everyone, welcome to Hyderabad Power Platform User Group Meetup. And this is our August 2025 meetup. And this time we have with us Jeevarajan Kumar, and he's a Microsoft MVP for 6 years now, I think, if I'm not wrong, Jiva. So, yeah. And today he's going to talk about 2025 release Wave 2, Dynamics 365 CE and Power Platform. So first of all, thank you, Jiva, for coming here today with us and sharing this topic with our audience. It is also very, very important to know what's coming new on the platform and what to expect. So thank you for choosing this topic.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yep. Okay, so if you want to share your screen, let's get started.
Sure. Let me just set this up.
Mhm.
I'm going to share along with my audio as well, as I'm going to play one of the video. So
Okay,
let me just test that as well.
okay.
That should be okay. And let me know if you're able to see the introduction. Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah, we can see the
And
PowerPoint.
yeah, if you just play this video, we're able to
And
do this.
I can hear the audio as well. Yes.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay, let me just jump into the presentation. Right. Again, thanks everyone for joining today in our Hyderabad user group platform and user group. And thanks Ritika and Yash for the opportunity again. It's a pleasure to present on the prestigious user group quite once in a while, at least once in a year. And thanks again for this year. For today, I really appreciate for everyone who is joining during the weekend for spending your time to learn something, and I hope that I'll be able to share some information. To just set the context, this session is not going to be any detailed a session or a hands-on session. Rather, this session is going to be more of a get-to-know session, where because since the release wave 2 2025 release wave 2 has been announced a while back, and whoever is working on Dynamics 365 and Power Platform, it's good to know what is coming to the platform so that you can plan and install the preview feature in your trial environment or test environment and play around with that, and then plan your release so that you can manage those releases effectively in your projects. And today I'm not also another disclaimer is that I'm not going to cover the Dynamics 365 FNO. So rather, I'll be focusing only on the CE side of it and a bit of Power Platform. Majority is going to be on the Dynamics 365 CE and very few features of the Power Platform. So this is a quick introduction about myself. Myself, Jiva. You can call me. My full name is Jeevarajan, but you can call me Jiva. I live in New Zealand, Auckland. I'm a solution architect working for Beldrada, and I'm also, as Ritika said, I'm a Microsoft Business Application MVP for the last 6 years. And I'm also a community leader where I organize user groups in Auckland and India, Tamil Nadu as well. And I do speak conferences and user groups like this quite often, and I do write blogs as well. This is my LinkedIn QR code and then YouTube QR code. I'm not active in uploading videos in YouTube. I'm just trying to do that. I'm hoping to do that. It was one of my goals for this year, but I never met it. Probably I'll just try to do something better in the future. And yeah, let me just start the session. So this is just a quick introduction about how the release wave cycle works in dynamic space and Power Platform space. If you are new to the platform, I always try to get this basic understanding of how this works because it's quite confusing. Don't don't be too much concerned about the year here. The main thing that we want to make note of is the months. So for the release wave 1 feature, typically the Microsoft releases the release wave 1 on from which applies from the April month to the September month, and the preview feature, the early access. So not preview, the early access for the wave 1 starts back in February, and then you get a chance to play around that and enable those in the test environment if you're in production, so that prepare for the wave releases that gets pushed by Microsoft on the April. Similarly, for the wave 2, which we are focusing today, the wave 2 gets released in the October month. That's where the wave 2 rollouts happens. And right now, since this month onwards, we have a chance to enable those early access features of this release wave 2 in our trial or test environment, and then again play around, test it, and then validate it. So make sure that by October we'll get all those updates when it's pushed by Microsoft. There's no surprises in terms of any impact on the existing project components of the project. So that release wave 2, is basically follows the cycle from October to March, and then this whole thing repeats for the every year. And that's what, as I said, the year doesn't matter here, it's all about the months. So we just start with the sales. So we are going to see sales, and then customer service, and then field service, and then some component of the Power Apps and Power Automate. So to start with sales, the first thing, like of course, as we expect, lots of components or like releases being announced in the AI and Copilot side of it. So the first feature of that would be where we can basically some of you might have already seen this, where you're using the new apps. You can see that the main grid or the special smart grid, it's called smart grid now. It's basically the grid that has this kind of a search query where you can basically search in real time, and then that gives you the results. Instead of us adding filters and then playing around with that, this is a nice add-on, especially for end users who are like somebody in sales or customer service. um, they have to add multiple filters, but this time they can just type it, and then the filters, you can see it's all populates automatically. And let me just bring in my laser pointer as well. So all these filters, once you type it, it can see all the filters it's been adding automatically, and then it filters the data. So for example, if someone types get me the opportunities where the estimated revenue is greater than 10,000 USD or something like that, what it does is it goes through all the records in that view, and then filters automatically. You can see it has the filters here of estimated revenue of 10,000, and it has open status, and then basically displays it. And it's been there for a while, like from March, and that's why I said many of you might have already seen it. But it's going to be generally available to all the environment from October onwards. That's this one. And next one is again, so another feature of the Copilot and AI innovation. So it's basically capturing, again, this is another feature. Lot of you have been seeing this in the environment. When you open the form, you can see this kind of pop-up, which basically says that it's basically the feature we're talking about, which helps to accelerate the data entry. It's called Form Fill Assistant. So what it does is basically it's an AI extract tool. When you drop in a file, like a TXT or docs or CSV, PDF, PN, or image files, it basically extracts the text information from that, and then it shows you the relevant target fields where you can basically accept the fields, and then it basically automatically fills in the text fields from the image or the text document. So imagine someone again who's working on the field opportunity leads or cases, like every day. It's easier for someone who has a standard information to be captured. It might come from any document or come from other system, or come could be from email, something like that, which you can basically also help to copy paste it, and then it helps to basically fill in the information. So that's something very common we must have seen in the past. And then again, another feature of the AI Copilot is basically with now we can basically connect all our AI agents to the sales workflows using your MCP server. So what it does is basically it will basically provides us the following features with right now, but it can have more features in the future. So it helps to basically list out the leads, retrieve lead summary, and qualify lead to opportunity, and get outreach email and send outreach email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just play an video after a couple of slides, and that will help you to understand what I'm talking about here. And that feature is going to be again GA from October, and it's public preview since this June. And now moving away from the AI and Copilot, this is again bit of AI, but definitely it's also an agent-based feature what we're talking about. But moving away from the Copilot itself, so this is the one of the key features, I would say, which is an agent called sales qualification agent that comes along with the product. So this agent helps boost the pipeline, helps to boost the pipeline. Basically, what it does is it has internally three agents, and unfortunately you can't run them separately, but it's a combination of three agents. It has one research agent, and prioritization agent, and outreach agent. So what it does is, the research agent basically it gathers all the information from the different places like your C or CRM, or also public web resources, and along with its Copilot and AI modeling skills, it basically gets the right information like customer information, account information from all these things, and then it gets into the prioritization agent. The prioritization agent, what it does is it will prioritize the information and decides or recommends whether to engage with that lead based on the typical profile of that customer, and then that we have configured. So that's what it does. And finally, the outreach agent, what it does is it creates a personalized email to basically reach out that customer, to basically generate the lead, and all the information that's captured by the research agent, and then filtered by the prioritization agent, or streamlined by the prioritization agent. Then the outreach agent will basically use this information to shoot it to the customers. That's what it is. And you can see the same in the here in the image as well. And that's again going to be available from GA, and then it is available from public. It is available from May as a public preview. And next one is again an extension of the sales qualification agent. It's not extension, sorry, it's another feature of the sales qualification agent. So the sales qualification agent also helps to basically improve your sales efficiency by it can validate the email address, because now having a if someone who has worked on the sales extensively, having an invalid email, or the email address that's not incomplete, it's a hassle, trying to do something, and then it keeps bouncing back, and then we are unable to reach the customer or the lead. So what this agent will do is basically it uses the validates email address, as it also conducts the research, outreach, and qualification. As an admin, we can specify which email fields that agents needs to look for, and then it basically look for them, and then highlights if there is any issue, so that we don't waste time on the one that's issued. Then we will tackle it how as per the process to get the right address for the further processes. And now stepping into customer service, moving away from the sales. Again, it's all going to be AI and Copilot a lot in the release wave 2 as expected. And from the customer service standpoint, the first feature for that would be, updating the agents basically helps to update the knowledge base, and called customer knowledge management agent. That agent, what it does is it's quite smart. So it basically reads the information from the case and the case related conversation, and then gathers things, extract the information that's in respect of that particular case and customer's context, or it can be generalized case context as well. And then it basically automatically it can publish the knowledge article, and then it retrieves those information, and it can shows up in the beautiful dashboards analytics like this. So with this, what does it mean is a customer agent can basically focus on getting the work done, and instead of them going into the several knowledge article and then related information to find the related information to serve the customer, making the customer to wait for a while. This basically helps that for on behalf of the support human support consultant, and this will basically analyze all the case related notes, and then it can draft the conversation, can draft the email, and it can fill in the information from the knowledge article, and then helps you to basically compose the email as well. And then it also compares the content of the case, from the knowledge article to if there's any new information that you put, and then tries to always ensure that the content is not duplicated either. If there's something that's already exists and something we're trying to capture, duplicate knowledge article has been a pain in the past, and this one will basically help to avoid that as well. So, and also it always ensures that right compliance and standards are followed by removing the sensitive data from the case. And we can also basically of course extend this agent with the more compliance checks and policies based on the organization policy. So that's this first feature of the AI and Copilot for the customer service. And next one is quite useful one as well. It's basically a Copilot powered email template recommendation. So what it does is, as you can see from the screenshot, so when we are trying to email the customer or from the platform, it basically assists, Copilot assists with the relevant email templates. So if we have tons of email templates, Copilot will help you to get the right template and then um, uh, you know suggest it, and then we can choose whichever we want, and then we can basically keep it or discard it, or adjust it based on the information that we want to customize on top of the template. And based on this suggestion, the suggestion basically happens behind the scene based on the context of the email and the search context, and also the email thread context. So it invokes all this information, collates them, and then suggests the right templates out of that. And this is again going to be GA from October, and it's public preview already from April this year. And then last feature of the Copilot and AI side of the customer service is going to be, again, connecting agents using the model context and MCP basically. So what it does is, basically what it means is that a customer service representative can connect, to their favorite agents such as, GPT or Claude, and then, do the query the operations, and then work on the information. The integration itself right now out of the box, so right now it provides things like creating and updating an account, listing an account, all the accounts, creating and updating a case, creating a case note, listing cases, and drafting and sending an email responses. And that's what it does. And then before heading into further of customer insight, sorry, customers service, I used to play some video about for the sales. What I'm going to do is, just pass it here for the customer service. As since we already, still we are already in the Copilot and AI space, I think playing that video would also make more sense. And then we can go into the other features of the customer service, and then followed by field service. Let me just bring that one as we speak. This is the one. It's a 5 minutes video, but it's worth it. I've also turned on the uh, uh, subtitles.
For many companies, revenue growth is hitting a ceiling, not because of a lack of opportunity, but because of limited sales capacity. There's only so much bandwidth in a day. Qualifying leads, answering routine questions, and waiting on customer replies eats up hours that should be spent closing deals. In the last wave, we introduced our first sales qualification agent that autonomously researched and engaged with every lead, helping sales teams quickly identify those with real purchase intent. In this way, the agent goes further, moving the lead closer to full qualification and boosting the team's opportunity pipeline with greater precision and impact. If the agent hits a roadblock, it doesn't stop. It proactively escalates any blocker or stalled leads to a designated agent manager such as Andre. In the new supervisor workspace, Andre can see how agents are performing against organizational KPIs all in one aggregated view. He reviews a flagged record where the agent needs support, a hot lead that hasn't responded after multiple outreach attempts. Within the enhanced lead research page, Andre can see every step the agent has taken. It automatically validated the email, confirmed it's a real lead, and matched it to existing CRM account and contact records. It then pulled in signals from public websites and custom knowledge sources, analyzing fit, intent, recency, and engagement to assign it a high priority status. But since it's a high value customer, Andre initiates a handover to a new seller for a personal follow up before making a final call. Prior to agents, sales teams with limited capacity for research often missed important leads. Now, the agent handles the heavy lifting, ensuring high potential leads don't slip through the cracks. While sales teams can use the sales qualification agent out of the box, those needing to connect to multiple systems and support bespoke processes can now easily build custom agents that make Dynamics data accessible to other apps, like Claude, using the new Dynamics 365 sales model context protocol server. No months long complex integrations, just add the MCP server as a tool in Copilot Studio, and you're ready to go. And just like that, sellers like Alex can now use their favorite AI assistant to prioritize leads, send personalized emails, generate quotes, and close deals. While agents are empowering sellers and managers, imagine if sales leaders could access dedicated experiences tailored specifically to them. helping automate sales operations and optimize performance across teams, products, and territories in a self serve manner. This release provides Anne just that. As she gears up to get a clear picture of her business, she selects a suggested topic to explore the sales performance. Behind the scenes, a collection of agents go to work. The planner agent creates a dynamic research plan and orchestrates a multitude of specialized agents to gather, analyze, and transform data into meaningful research outputs, uncovering the why behind the team's sales force. With one click, she can dive deeper into the research plan and explore the reasoning behind each finding. Equipped with a clear view of the current state, Anne is ready to review team goals and refine account strategies. By simply typing a business question, the agent explores data from all angles and suggests actionable plans. Interactive visuals help tailor insights as strategy evolves. Not only does the agent analyze the pipeline health across sellers, conversion rates, and quota progress, it also provides Anne suggestions on where to go next. Territory planning and account assignment are also simplified. The agent analyzes account and revenue distributions across territories, highlights imbalances, and identifies where sellers may be overburdened, delivering actionable insights to support smarter, revenue driven decisions. This release wave brings it all together. Agents that empower organizations to scale without being limited by sales capacity. Tools for supervisors to monitor and improve sales performance. The freedom for sellers and developers to build and connect their own AI powered workflows. And the insight sales leaders need to build informed plans fast. Smarter selling, stronger teams, greater impact, all with Dynamics 365 sales. To learn more, check out the release.
Yeah, so that's what I was referring some of them in the slide. As you can see, how the overall trend and the user experience in terms of the platform is shifting to. And it's not just the sales, and it's not just that specific agent we are talking about. That's just the starting. But going forward, like in the span of next few years, we will have the platform, and it's expected to have the platform to have it, such a major shift in terms of how the data is going to be surfaced on the system, and how the data is going to be accessed by the users. It's all going to change, in terms of it's all expected to change. And I'm also fingers crossed to see how it's going to look like. But I think it's quite a good example of how this is going to look like. It's just one of the agents we're talking about here. All right, so going to the next one. So moving away from the agent and Copilot, I mean, again, not completely from Copilot, but especially not the Copilot interface. So for the service representative, talking about the customer service representative experience, exactly as I speak, as I just told, the customer service can pretty much started will be working into going for mostly on the Copilot service workspace, which we saw now for the sales, and where you can have dashboards, analytics, views, your custom pages, the PCF controls. Like you can extend it, you can add it, and it's all going to look like like a one canvas where you can basically get all the information. You interact with the information, you interact with the tools, and then it gets things moving faster. That's why we're heading into. And you'll see that in October, in terms of the workspace itself. But again, it's all based on the organizational needs and the requirements, how we're going to build and add it. And then to the next one. So enhancing the service representative efficiency with custom productivity tools, that's we just saw. And next one is automatically restoring sessions after browser refresh. It's quite refreshing. Because currently the old experience, what happens is when a user refreshes or reconnects a browser, due to things like slow browser, memory issue, or any other headphone issue, something like that, a network issue, or accidentally closing the browser, the app reloads only the home page, and user need to reopen any other tabs and like the phone calls, chats, cases, and messages. But now with the new one, the browser automatically restores the following items within the customer service workspace, and such as cases and accounts and their applications. It's all just restores automatically how it was closed. It's quite time consuming. It's a quite time saving one, and it's really definitely quite comes handy for the customer service consultants. And GA for this is in again October itself. Most of them what we're seeing is all GA in October, which is a good time now that we are going through this in August now. That will still give you all of us a month, more than a month to basically test and prepare for those available GA components. And with that, I'm heading into field service. So we just see the free field service part of it. The first, I'm going to just focus on the frontline workers and the field level technicians. The first feature in that is integrating the bookings with the Outlook and Teams. So as you can see, right now the bookings has to be managed in the field service app, and then it doesn't sync with the Outlook app, and they have to switch between both the apps to see when is their availability and what is the next booking. So it's quite pain in the painful. And then with this one, the bookings gets synced up to the Outlook and the calendar, and the Outlook calendar and the Teams calendar. So which means the users should be, or technicians should be able to see the bookings in the Outlook itself as this is, and then if they click on it, they can show the address and the map, and all the information under that. So that's, and then it navigates to the field service app, as you can see from Outlook to the field service app. And that's going to be, it's already in early access for July, and then again the GA is going to be from October. And then in terms of the optimizing scheduling, this is one of my favorite component, and you can see it's quite far. It's in the March, and so basically dispatchers can ask the Copilot to optimize the schedule for a specific booking, or existing booking, or an booking as in created at, which means unbooked or unscheduled work order or unscheduled resource requirement. You can basically click and then ask for the Copilot in the chat, in the sidecar experience. And what it does is basically you can it suggests the slots, and you can basically choose the parameters that you want to find the you can choose the resource, and you can also choose the criteria to basically shortlist the resource and the time slots. So this, if you have already worked in field service, and especially on the RSO side of field service, this might be quite familiar, because these filters comes from the RSO as currently it is, but probably the way it looks like to me is that underlying algorithm or the logic is going to be going to be based on the model, AI model, rather than black box code that Microsoft has right now. So that's what it looks like, but the input criteria is pretty much same at this point of time. Maybe it's expected to add more filters and components, but not yet. So in this case, you can see, maximize utilization is the goal. Maximize utilization means, use the resources for the whole work hours. So these slots are just make sure that try to utilize the resources as much as possible. And then time range basically says until what period of time we want to look for the slots. And then this is a view, whether it can be open requirement or no, maybe based on certain filter condition. It's just a view. Basically, input feeding for input data feeding is decided based on this view. And then these are the constraints, which is now called constraint, but it's going to be called options going forward. So what does it mean is, if you have this required characteristics as a constraint, it basically says that it finds only the resources who has all the skill sets from the resource requirement or work order. And then again, territories is basically the territories from the resource requirement should match the territory with the resource. And then promised window is basically make sure that the resources is available within the time from promised, time to promised, or date window start, time window start, date window end, and time window end, which is basically the whole promised date and time component of the work order and resource requirement. And then predictive travel time is, again, basically says the travel time and so accommodates the slot. Once you run this, it basically suggests the bulk of slots, and then you can choose it. It's quite smarter way than using the schedule board, scheduling assistant for that matter. And the way it looks like, it seems to be probably this is going to be integrated in the scheduling assistant as well. Again, it's all my speculation. It's nothing as confirmed, but I can see it's just starting the whole scheduling experience, starting to use the model and the Gen AI, and this is going to be the first step for that one. And next one is, again, so it's same thing. So as you can see, once I from previous slide, once I say suggest schedule, it basically suggests the schedules like this. As you can see, for the particular resource which we have actually chosen here, and it suggests the few slots based on the criteria that we defined, and also the traffic information, historical traffic information, and what it says. So based on this, you can decide, oh, okay, so this slot is probably going to take 30 minutes and makes sense rather than making it travel 45 minutes in the morning. So you choose it and then you apply and then basically do it. Or if you want, you can adjust it and then run again and then do it. So in this experience, if you remember or if you used it, it's very much the scheduling assistant user experience. That's again using the power of Gen AI in the background. And in terms of performance, there are some quality of in terms of the schedule board performance quality. There's been lots of work done, and then we can expect the schedule board to load faster and quicker than it is now, and that's going to be GA from November. And then the organization unit has been, the it's simple feature, but again makes sense to have a geocoding with the address. Right now, we have to search for the address in the Bing or Google and then find the lat long and then populate it here. But going, forward, you don't need to do that. Rather, just searching the address, how we do in the account and the function location, similar to that. It can be searched in the organization unit as well, and then we can get the lat long from that. So that will help to basically, tag the geocoding for the organization units. And again, a nice improvement on the schedule board. So refreshing user, in terms of the schedule board appearance itself, this is from one of my project. And currently, as you can see, when you have a quite tight packed bookings like this, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes bookings, like next to each other, you can see it's all kind of overlapping and a bit messy. But now it's expected to do that. It renders properly like this, where the icons and those things doesn't overlay and then have trouble. Rather, it all syncs and shrinks and expands properly. I'm curious to know it as how it looks as well in October, because there was no private preview or early access for that one either. And then sharing a schedule board, another great feature, and if you are worked and the schedule board, sharing is to do a schedule board sharing. We need to open the background table, which is scheduling settings table in the advanced find, and then we need to click on those table and then click share and then share it to user or team. But from here, it's expected that you will be able to share from the schedule board itself. Click a tab, right click the tab or the three dots, and then share it from there. And that's expected to available from November. And then this is just a standardization where we are moving away from skills to characteristics, because in some places the table is called characteristics, and some places it's called characteristics, and in resource page and few places it's called skills. It's just confusing. So we're just moving away from skill to characteristics, and we're also moving away from proficiency, calling it a proficiency model, to rating model. So within any characteristics, if you want to rate or based on the rating 1 to 10, it's going to be called rating model, which is plain English and easy to understand. This was quite confusing earlier. And then wow, and this one is a bit a welcoming feature again. If you have worked in the URS, Unified Resource Scheduling, you know that like in terms of the schedule board zooming and zoom out is a bit not so good user experience. When you try to just use the mouse scrolling or browser zoom, you can see it doesn't properly zooms out and zoom in as expected. And I think going forward, that experience also fixed. So zooming basically based on where we have the cursor, right? It's going to properly zoom and zoom out, instead of the current time, which is quite confusing. Excuse me. And then next one, moving away from scheduling improvements, we also have work order management improvements. So work orders are directly able to connect to FNO using the dual write. And what does that mean is that all the labor and material usage from the work order flows natively into the field FNO as a cost and financials. And then product services in work orders also flows into as a project operations, estimates, actuals, material usages. So these things we have been building integration to retrieve and keep this information in sync. Now with this one, it's been announced natively, which means we are talking about avoiding any custom development, at least within this scope of the features that's been released. And that's going to be GA from October as well. This is going to be quite a massive improvement in terms of the projects where we have a field service and also the FNO to capture the financials. And the next one, again, an improvement in the work order management is to basically, again, like a chat experience with the Copilot. Similarly, what we saw in for the sales and customer service. Similarly, for the field service, also you're going to have a Copilot chat, and we can, as maker, can definitely customize the Copilot chat with the Copilot component, and or they can create a new one. And field service work orders and scheduling topics also available natively as a Copilot Studio. So which means, in the Copilot Studio, you can basically build your agent, and you can basically consume the scheduling and work order topics directly from there. The last feature of the field service is that, no, sorry, this one is just a pretty one from this. Yes, that's all for the field service. So mainly on the features I want to talk about was the from the mobile app, and then on the scheduling, and the key feature I would say is the optimizing the scheduling, and also the overall improvements in the schedule board. And moving on to the Power Platform space now, we have few updates from the Power Apps and then Cloudflow, and then with that, we are done with the session. So first one in the Power Apps, or the only one in the Power Apps that I want to share is, again, very similar to what we saw in the sales, where we are uploading the file and then get that. Similar to that, we have, this is basically another feature where we can share, copy the content from any, place, and then basically, help to just smart paste that in the respective fields. As you can see, once I copy this construct, the AI can interpret the context and then match it with their fields here, the field names and the descriptions of the field names and all those things, and then suggest what information can go here, and then based on the approve that we do, it basically populates that. And then moving to the cloud flows, sorry, the feature, that one is basically a GA from October, and then it's early access available from October, will be available from October as well. So but pretty much it's going to be in October. Probably we'll get a few days before GA, we get this one. And then moving into cloud flows, there are a couple of cloud flows features which I want to discuss before we close the session. And the first one is, creating and editing expression. Again, it's all there for a long time, since January. So definitely most of you have already used it. So if not, again, you can give a try. So in the Copilot, when you're trying to build the expression, you can always ask the chat, the Copilot in the natural language, and then that will provide you the expression generator, and you can use it, or you can edit it and then change it and use it. This, I have used this personally quite a lot, quite a few times, and it's very handy. Definitely, I can say that. It does help you to build those expressions. And it's going to be GA from December. And the next feature, last feature in the cloud flows, is that, making the debugging. Again, this is a great feature that's going to be GA only in December. There is no early access for this one. So what does it do is it helps you to debug the information, instead of just every time you open it and then see it, you can basically hover and then you can see what's going on there. So whenever the condition runs in Power Automate, basically you can see it returns only the true or false ideally. But if the condition doesn't run as expected, like complex conditions that uses multiple dynamic content and expressions, very difficult to debug. But with this one, you can see like what information gone through and what is the value and all those things. It's quite handy feature, definitely. Like by day-to-day life, we work a lot with Power Automate, and this is going to be another one that saves lots of time. And then the last one is on the Dataverse. There are just a couple of features I want to talk about Dataverse. The one is, like the column management for Dataverse knowledge in Copilot Studio. So what does it offer is that it's going to offer just, one, you can configure the Copilot just for the most relevant columns instead of all the columns. So in that way, we don't need to get in multiple columns and avoid cause confusion, and that will help us to basically the Copilot to deliver more accurate and then context our responses. That's something is going to be available again from October. And then next one is populating prompt columns with conditional logic. So makers can now basically apply conditional logic and selectively populate the prompt columns to a record that meets the condition. For example, if you want to populate the prompt column for record where the city column is, let's say Hyderabad, You can only select to populate the prompt column for all records that include future existing records. The prompt column in existing records is updated, using the batch job behind the scene. So that will basically get you to, have some conditional logic, and then the batch job executes, and then that will help you to get the work done. And with that, I hope I didn't rush. And that's the most of the key features that's from the release of Wave 2 from Dynamics Sales Service, Field Service. I couldn't cover marketing. I thought that time won't be sufficient, but I went quite fast. I know, yeah, that's all from my side. And that are some of the highlights from the Power Platform and the Power Automate and Dataverse as well.
Uh, okay, so thank you so much, Jiva, for presenting on this topic. I think it gives us a great idea about what to expect and what all is coming. And for
Yeah,
the marketing thing, if any of our attendees have questions for Jiva, you can reach out to him directly, and he should be able to help you.
yeah, definitely, 100%. Yeah.
Mhm. With respect to questions, I don't see any on the chat, but this was more of a session which was informational about the upcoming features. So if anybody has any questions for you, Jiva, they can directly reach out to you. Plus, this will be live streamed on YouTube. So if anybody watches it later, they might come back with
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thanks to you too for coming here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Um, Yeah, bye. With that, I think we'll close the session for today. Thank you so much all for joining. We will meet next month with a different topic and with a different speaker. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
both of
Bye.
you.